Right guys, sometimes what we do is make a mistake in the sense that we come across a situation that feels uncomfortable, we don't like it, we don't know how to deal with it, so we avoid it. And all that does when we do that is it makes us know that next time that situation comes up, we won't be able to deal with it because we didn't deal with it before. Why are we likely to deal with it next time? So if you think over the course of weeks, months, years, that can make a very small, insignificant really thing turn into a massive problem for us. So that would then often for people manifest itself for them as a dormant anxiety that comes out every time there's the threat of that situation approaching. So the way over that is to master the thing that caused you the anxiety or negative emotions in the first place, rather than keeping it as a something you've got to avoid for the rest of your life. So I know we live in a bit of a, as they say, snowflake generation where it's like, oh no, you shouldn't do that because that could be very harmful for you. And yes, you have to be careful how fast you take these steps. But I'm going to give you an example or two about people that have overcome things like this very rapidly. So the first one is a young girl who's in year 13 at school, and she's got very big anxiety about being in the classroom. So much so that she just keeps walking out of class. It's happening 2 or 3 lessons per day. So obviously the school are very worried about her. She's worried about her education. She's got a clear roadmap of where she wants to go in life, so that's not really an issue. The main issue is that she can't sort of stay in class, and her education is suffering pretty badly. So what we did is emailed the teachers. I emailed all the teachers and got her to, whenever she felt like she was going to walk out of class, put your phone on the table and start a timer off and see how long you can stay in class for. If you can stay in for a minute, that's 1 minute more than you were before, and that would be brilliant. And since then, she's not walked out of a class. It's pretty bloody amazing, really, because she's kind of learned that there's another way. Like the walking out of class is one way to get rid of her anxiety, but actually, if she stays in class and focuses on that instead, then that's another way to deal with the anxiety. And we're now working on the fact of another way to deal with the anxiety is to actually pay attention to the teacher and use your other senses. Rather than focusing on what's going on in here, you focus on what's going on out there and taking the lesson. So that's the next step that we're taking there. That's something that's been plaguing her for months, and that was, as I say, it's been 5 weeks, but that was 1 week that it took her to do that. And since then it's been 5 weeks that she hasn't walked out of class. So I think you'd agree that's pretty bloody good. Second example, a bit different, but young lads who is signed off with work-related stress. So been working through some of the things around that, and then he discussed the fact that he was drinking a bit too much and didn't know what to do to try and stop that, because avoiding drink wasn't working. So I kind of said the same sort of thing really. Grab yourself a nice bottle of red on the way home, keep it with you as much as you can during the day at home, like keep it in the same room. Don't avoid it, put it almost in front of you, and then put off drinking it for as long as you possibly can. And again, he's had very good results from that, because he said that he's learning to control his impulses, and he's realising where in the past he's been very impulsive and it's often got him in trouble. And this is also linked in a way to what he was going through at work. So that's been a very big realisation for him from something very, a very simple bit of homework. Also, a bit more of a deeper one, a lady who was struggling to walk. She was kind of walking like 1 foot by 1 foot type thing, like that, rather than, normally. And this has been a problem for her for 17 years. And she's seen various physios, various people, psychiatrists even, and no one's been able to get to the bottom of it. No physical problem. So it's been, the psychiatrist has said it's a mental problem that you've got in the way that you're thinking about it, etc. So with her, she'd never really found anyone that's been able to actually help her get over it. But it was kind of a case of looking at it and saying, right, so walk from one end of the room to the other. Hold on to my arm, walk across there. Let's go around the park. We did that a few times, but then that wasn't really helping, to be honest with you, because she had someone with her. So it's like, what we did is got her walking around the car park at lunchtime at work. So she did that every single day, did it slowly, started trying to speed it up. She got a Fitbit so she could kind of count the steps that she was doing. Within a week, she was feeling more confident about walking around the car park once. So the week after that, got her doing it twice. And then after that, she didn't have time to do any more because she had to eat her lunch. So it was then go for a walk down the street rather than walking around the car park. Go for a walk down the street. She's now doing 2 miles of walking a day and just finding it very, very simple to do. Now, I know this might seem like I'm dismissing all the anxiety and whatever. I'm not. And clearly these people have all had bigger issues that they've needed to talk about. But it's a very good way of getting started. You know, you don't have to see it as a huge monster that is going to eat you alive. It's sometimes you need to get over this stuff, and the way to do that sometimes is to set yourself something that you can do that goes against it and actually puts yourself into that problem. Like if you've got social anxiety, talk to a cashier. Like go into a shop, buy a newspaper, say hi, how's your day? You having a good one? Just little things like that. Then maybe go and join meetup.com and see if there's any groups that interest you. Sign up to them and just maybe send a few messages out. Possibly go and do a meetup. That's another thing. Another guy I'm working with, you know, he's 40 years old and he's sort of never really been very comfortable in relationships. He hasn't had any long-term relationships or a proper girlfriend before. So he feels like he's very different from other people, and he feels like he's sort of almost branded as being a weirdo because he's never really had a long-term relationship. So for him, it's kind of very much around social anxiety. So that's exactly what we did, got him building up. It's brilliant. He'll come in and you go, oh yeah, I saw a woman at the till. She was struggling with the till wasn't working, so I asked her if I could help her hold her bag while she was putting something in it to get that off, so that the assistant could help. And then he ended up chatting to her outside, like while they were walking back to the car. He joined a meditation group, started chatting to people on that. Then he joined meetup.com, and now he's started his own meetup.com group for people suffering from social anxiety. And this is a guy that wouldn't say boo to a goose at the beginning of the time when I started seeing him. And it's very good because he went out for a singles night, and he said, you know, there was no parking near the pub, so he had to drive nearly a mile up the road. And I thought it was amazing that he actually did. He drove a mile up the road, left his car and walked back and went to the pub still. And he was saying all the time I was feeling anxious, but I was just remembering what we've been saying about don't worry about the anxiety, think about something else, think about what you're going to do when you get there, and pay attention to the things around you rather than what's going on in here. And he had a really good night, and he got a hug from 3 women at the end of it, which he was very, very proud of himself for. I don't blame him. So that's a way of kind of picking up a bit of momentum for yourself and showing yourself that you're not as weak as you think you are, you're nowhere near as weak as you think you are, and in fact there's a hell of a lot more strength in you than what you could possibly ever know. So get yourself up, get yourself on it, and find something today. Like, think about what I'm saying. If you need to, get yourself a bit of paper, draw the problem in the middle, strands coming off it, what are little things that contribute to it, what can I do about that, further strands coming off them, until you find something that you can do right now. Go and do it. See ya.